Hello, and I'm Chef Shauna with What the Feast podcast. I am about to head to downtown to do our first interview or chat session, I like to say. It's more of a chat with our first guest. So super excited about this. But before I left, I wanted to talk about some of the things I am crushing on this fall. There's been, I think for the past about 2 years, this big trend on charcuterie boards or cheese boards, if it makes it easy for you. But there's been this pushing thing that's coming up about butter boards, and I am totally crushing on that. For this fall, I think I'm gonna make a butter board for the next session so we can talk about it and see if we can talk to some dairy farmers about some butter and see some things. I think that would be fun. We'll see what happens, but I am definitely crushing on that. You can do anything with this. This is like a wooden board. There's really great quality. Local is better if you can get local. Smeared across the board, and then there are sweet elements. You can add savory elements, so crackers, different kinds of breads, chips, fruit, crudité, which is a fancy word for cut up vegetables, all across the board. And you can dip. You can even drizzle honey and syrups and make it sweet and salty. Oh my goodness, I think this is going to be fantastic. One of the things that I really feel would be excellent with this would be flavored butters. So if you wanted to do different whipped butters, herb butters, but it's pumpkin season, pumpkin butters, apple butters, those would be fantastic on this. So that's one of the things I'm crushing on. Now, the other thing I'm crushing on is really that this is the perfect time for you to start working on building up your immune system for cold and flu season that's really approaching. So you don't want to wait until you start to feel a little icky to really get on this. Actually keeping your body in optimal shape with the nutrients that it needs to fight off, the infections, the viruses, that's what you want to do. So turmeric, ginger, apple cider vinegar, you want to grab some of those. Cinnamon is absolutely fantastic. If you have any kind of things like a cough, cardamom, and licorice actually really soothes your throat. So start getting on that. And here's a clue. So citrus is always a fantastic thing to have. So oranges, lemon, any citrus fruit. But also peppers are one of the highest, has one of the highest vitamin C content. So definitely get some peppers in your life. Get that in there. Eat your peppers. Raw is always best, or juiced is even fantastic. But if you cook them, you're still going to get nutrients that way. But get peppers in. Get your vitamin C going. Ginger, cinnamon, turmeric, green cardamom, licorice. Those are some of the amazing things that you can do. If you can get your hands on peppermint and eucalyptus, it's also great. Your girl got the teas, but get your immune system going. So get that into the regular habit. And those are two things I'm crushing on. So I'm going to get ready to go into downtown and have this conversation. And I will see you next time at What the Feast. So welcome everybody to What the Feast podcast. I'm Chef Shauna, and I am sitting here with Chef Hamm. We're gonna chat it up with him a little bit about his food, his restaurants, his concepts, and get some insight about what is going on and what he has going on, and delicious stuff happening. So Chef Hamm, thank you. Thank you for being our first guest. I couldn't think of anyone more fitting to be our first guest for the podcast. So we're very, very thankful that you made time out of your crazy schedule to be here to sit with us. So I just want to get started right away by asking, how did you start this culinary journey? Why did you start cooking?
Sure. I grew up in a family with many grandchildren. I only have 3 siblings, and I was the oldest. But my cousin list was very, very extensive, and I cooked a lot with my grandmothers, both of my grandmothers. And then I always knew I had a little passion for cooking, and then in high school I came across a culinary, or back then it was called food service instructor, and took the class and just continued my passion for cooking to turn it into a career.
Oh, so that was the spark. There's always a spark, and we have something in common there, because I started cooking with my grandmother too, so that's a cool thing to know. There's always something that sparks everything. So, but what if you have to pick, and I hate this question personally, but I still have to ask it, if you have to pick one kind of food, maybe not necessarily a specific dish, but if you had to pick one thing that you like cooking the most, what would that be?
And that's a good way to put it. People always say, what is your favorite thing to cook? Well, we cook it all. So
Exactly.
I don't know what a favorite. But if there is a favorite, it would be Asian cuisine. And I think that's just from the creativity of it. And of course, I don't have an Asian restaurant, so therefore it's not something I do every day. So I put a little bit more excitement into it when I prepare it.
Yeah. And I think, so my favorite food as well, we're finding out we have a lot in common, is Asian food. And I like the complexity. I like the big flavors. I like the play of sweet, spicy, sour. All of it works, right? It's so delicious. So that is pretty cool. I can endorse that. Now, the other thing is, so we both know the restaurant industry it's a beast, right? It's a beast of many heads. It's many things good, it's many things difficult. But what do you like about this industry? Like, what drives you to still be in this industry?
Normally I would say that every day is different. Now, of course, often it seems like every day is the same because you come in, you go to work. But the complexity of the differences keeps it interesting, right? After 30-some years in the industry, you've probably seen and done most of it, but still there's a different challenge, there's a different face to what you're doing each day. And so that it keeps that interest there when it's ever changing.
Right.
So the good and the bad of it, right? I can't imagine going in and sitting at a desk every day, but I don't necessarily coming in and turning the fryer on every day. But the routine of what you're doing changes up, and the challenges keep coming at you, and it keeps it interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, and I feel like it also pushes you to grow in ways you might not always appreciate growing, but it kind of makes you go. At least that's my experience. But that's a really good perspective on how to look at it, that the challenges are actually part of what makes it interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You want to shake a stick at it some days.
Yes.
But still, those challenges keep it interesting.
Okay.
And I think the difference also in being a chef and being a restaurant owner, maybe the restaurant ownership is the side that gets old and boring, where being the chef never does. I still enjoy each day coming in and making specials. And the same thing we mentioned, like the Asian foods, is you can do so many different things with that, and the creativity that comes from within and cooking, and that's the piece that is is always exciting.
Yeah, and I think, just like we said before, just like there needs to be fuel to start your journey, there also needs to be fuel to continue your journey. But okay, so good things aside, that's a perfect segue into the next thing I want to ask, because I have a laundry list, but what would you like to see change about the industry, though? Is there anything you'd like to see change, or is there anything you'd like to see maybe a little bit of focus on, or people should be aware of as customers and diners, as people who frequent places of service? Is there anything you'd like to see change?
I would say the respect level. I don't know that the public appreciates all the people that work in the industry, from the dishwasher. We often think the dishwasher is the bottom of the totem pole. Well, do you want to eat on a clean dish or a dirty dish? Do you want to eat on a properly sanitized dish? Do you want to pick up a stack of dishes that's got crumbs halfway through? So how do we not appreciate all pieces of that? And I think consumers don't see all elements of that. You know, what we're doing as a chef is offering a service. So someone may want something that is, you know, they don't want to do but can do, well then pay us to do it.
Right.
I mean, we're doing it for you. And so I think sometimes that respect of valuing what we do, and some of my concepts, which we'll touch on a little bit more, have been switching to ordering online. And people will say, and this is, I don't mean this in a terrible way, but they say, oh, that's just too complicated. Well, it is complicated, but you don't respect the person that you want to pay $8 an hour to take your order, but yet you don't want to do it yourself. So we just need to value the positions, again, even if it's just the cashier, because they're not just the cashier, because they're the one that's figuring out all the elements that you don't want the pickle on it, you want it on the side, and you want half the amount of ketchup and double the amount of mustard, and you want to change it. So respect and understand that you're asking for something personal.
Yeah.
And that's probably the value that I wish would change in the industry, and people would understand the work that we put into what we're doing and the complexity of something as simple as the condiments, you know, the toppings on a burger. That, you know, try them, respect them, but also, you know, if you want to change it, understand the value of that.
Yeah. And here's a tip, guys. If a chef has taken the time to create a menu, or try it the way it is first. I know you have your preferences, unless you're like have an allergy, that's how I feel. Unless you have an allergy or a dietary restriction, if this chef has taken the time to create this entire concept, try it the way it is, and maybe the next time, if that's not to your liking, then add and take away or whatever, but at least give them the respect of trying it. That's something I know every chef would appreciate.
Yeah, and I'm not as much offended if someone removes something. It's removing, adding, changing, substituting. You know, like, I don't like mustard, so leave the mustard on.
Okay, that's fine.
But don't say no mustard, add mayonnaise, and you know, those things. Like just omitting is not as catastrophic to me as when people take your 7 ingredients and change 5 of them.
Then they made their own.
Why in the world did you
build your own.
Right.
And then sometimes they can combine things that you as a chef look at and you're like, this is not going to taste. This is not going to taste great.
What is this combination?
Right.
And then they want to complain that
it didn't taste good, or it didn't look good. If you add too many sauces,
it's just not.
It's not going to look right. So that's something interesting. So you've talked about you're introducing this kind of contactless way of ordering, which, by the way, so many places are doing, and it's easier for everyone actually. And then you get to kind of redistribute the labor and your team of what they're doing. They get to be multi-purpose.
And it's part of the challenge of the workforce. The workforce is depleted, so how do we use the workforce that we do have? Right? And then valuing where we spend our money and where we, you know, put our team. And that's the executive decision.
So talk to us about, Chef has a lot going on. So talk to us about some of, or all of your restaurants and businesses that you have. You have a lot. You have a lot of plate.
Well, I have 3 physical locations with 3 concepts, but 2 of them are identical, so really 4 concepts if you look at it. So I do have a ghost kitchen model, Buttermilk Biscuit Bar, which is in the early market, and it is just a contactless ordering queue. And then I do have the 2 Libations concepts, which are not identical, but they are similar. And then, of course, the early market is our grab-and-go concept that was kind of born or took off with more intensity during the pandemic of the ready-to-eat grab-and-go meals. And all of my establishments are now quick service. We used to be sit-down, full service in one of them, but that's all changed. And just kind of progress into the future to allow scratch-cooked foods, and all of them are scratch-cooked. Everything we do is from scratch, which, you know, people appreciate the quality. I don't know that they always appreciate the craftsmanship of it. No, but they know it when they taste it.
Yeah, I knew it. Chef's biscuits are insane. And I love many of the salads, the chicken salad, the shrimp salad. Oh, the broccoli salad is my favorite. But so how do you keep all of this going? When do you sleep?
I always say I sleep well. So when I do stop, I sleep well because I'm exhausted. But I think just from years of timing and you know, a great team. You know, even though the team is very small, everyone knows what they're doing. They know their roles, and we work well together. And I'm still in the kitchen. Yeah. I'm not a chef that just whizzes by. I'm not a manager. I'm a hand.
You're here.
Part of the team, and that you know, allows to keep my passion going, but also I think just orchestrate the entire day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this was so insightful and so great to sit down with you. And I'm really, really grateful that you took the time. I know you're busy. So thank you very much for doing this. And I hope you enjoy the behind the scenes and getting to know Chef Hamm a little bit more. So come down and visit him. 3 of the concepts are in Sanford. So if you're local here or in any of the surrounding areas, I will link all of his locations in the comment section, and please stop by, check it out, and taste the food. It is good, y'all. So thank you guys again. This is Chef Sean with What the Feast, and thank you for subscribing, join, and like. Take care, guys.